This episode of the Long Run Podcast is sponsored by Skechers.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first Long Run live stream and podcast of 2023, brought to you by the FORDY Runs running community and our general sponsor, Skechers. I'm Ian Wilson, and tonight I will be discussing whether we need running goals for this new year, how we're going to manage expectations and things like that. And I will be picking the brains of Toby Frost, Sabrina Ahmed, and Chris Ford. There'll be loads of other stuff to discuss as well. It's been our first live show for a few weeks, so it's nice to get back in the groove and back in the whole Friday evening thing. So, without further ado, Happy New Year, everybody!
Happy New Year!
Well, I've just seen a post on the people watching on YouTube. Everyone, Happy New Year! 2 likes already. This was before we went live because we were late because of Toby, and then Triple X wrote, "What happens if this episode's turned out to be crap?" I'll let you into a little secret, Triple X. It probably could be. All right. So just as a heads up, but just keep smashing the like button, people. It doesn't matter if it's crap or not. Just keep smashing the like button. We don't care. Just put it. And the reason we're late is because Tobe turned up late because he was eating, and that's basically it. So just blame Toby.
I would like to say in his defence, the poor boy is a bit under the weather, isn't he?
Well, that's what I was about to say, but
it wasn't really that. It's pressing go and then saying Facebook ain't working.
So, whose Facebook's not working?
So we're not on Facebook.
So
sorry about all our regular Facebook listeners.
So you've not got us on Facebook tonight?
Watchers.
Well, it's not exactly me. I'll blame whoever set it up, really. I was letting them know that I'm actually doing something. So
Can I just say, right? So Toby, this is your day-to-day job, right? Is doing this sort of stuff, and you had one job to do tonight, which is to get this, and I would say, with confidence, people, the largest independent running podcast in the UK, probably around the world. The bit at the end is the probably bit, but definitely in the UK, we are the largest independent running podcast. And Toby, you can't even get us on live on Facebook. Is that what you're saying? So if I'm your boss,
imagine how big it would be if we could sort out all these little bits, all these little techie bits and stuff.
Well, that's the only reason
we've got, we're battling against the media giants, mate, and we've got to raise our game.
He's got to wait till the National Running Show.
Yeah,
this is the thing. I'm now nervous. Yeah, we're going to be 37,000 people are coming to see us right on Saturday, and Tobe has got to get us on stage with mics on, right, all at the same time. He's got to record it, video it, and get it out. I just can't see it happening because you can't even get us live on Facebook. Are you going to apologise to him?
Let me post. Facebook's
Right,
broken.
so look,
I've broken Facebook.
We've got to do a couple of important things. First things first, right?
Want to make
really important things. Firstly, Tobe, how's your marathon training going?
Mine, fine.
Yeah. Which marathon is it for again?
Manchester,
that was it. We've got to give a shout out to the guys at Skechers. We've got to give a shout out to the guys at Start Fitness. Now, this is important, people. I've been ruining their Instagram all day. I don't think they've ever seen somebody post as much on their Instagram stories as I have today. I've absolutely destroyed them. So if you've got any questions, I'm still going to be on there after this. Jump on there and follow Start Fitness UK. I've been hammering their Instagram all day. They love it. So get on there. There's still some stuff on here. Still can ask some questions, although you can drop it in here as well. So a big shout out to Start Fitness. We've taken over their Instagram today. I've got to give a shout out to who else, Wilco?
Petra got the nod for her refund, didn't she? He's frozen.
What race was that? I don't know what race that was.
You were the one who sent the emails, mate.
I've got to give a shout out to the guys at Buntingford. They put on a good race over Christmas. I've got to give a big shout out. I wasn't there, unfortunately, because I was sick. but I've got to give a shout out to the.
I did it, and it was superb. It was 2 days before New Year. It was the 30th. The weather was horrendous. It absolutely bucketed it down. But the people there, everybody from Royston Runners who sort out that event in North Hertfordshire, did an absolutely brilliant job. And afterwards, they were selling cups of tea in mugs.
Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant.
I like that.
Go on, admin. You've got you're about to say something.
No, I was going to say they were selling them or they were giving them away in a month.
Yeah,
They don't give them away. You can't give away. You know, this is an athletics club. You know, they've got bills to pay. You know, tea bags to fund. But it was just nice to get it in a cup. It
was a good event. That was why
I wanted to give definitely recommend it.
Yeah, that's why I want to give him a shout because I felt bad because I couldn't come because I was quite sick over New Year. So I'm a bit gutted I couldn't be there. So I wanted to give them a bit of love. That was the other one I needed to give a shout out to. Right, I've got a question for those who are on YouTube because Tobe's not got us on Facebook tonight. And if you're doing your long run and you're listening to this, you can send in the answer to this question to, I'm going to ask admin.
FORDYruns.com/long run.
Yeah. Get it in there. Do you think Brighton I've just muted. Brighton Marathon is going to be a ballot next year? I'm going to put that out there.
What brings this question to the fore then, mate? What's your thinking behind this?
Right. Oh, by the way, go back a step because it's done by London Marathon Events, isn't it? Yeah. So, London Marathon Events have taken over the Brighton Marathon. Brighton Marathon is about £3,000 to enter. I think it's something like that. It's ridiculous how much they ask for it, right? My feeling is that they'll do it this year, and I'm just wondering because Royal Parks is a ballot. Yeah, they've got a ballot system going on down there. That's about £3 million to enter as well, even though it's just a park run, effectively, but 13 miles. That's what it feels like. And they've got the worst logo in the world, by the way. London Marathon Events, you need to sort that out. I put it on Instagram. You got hammered for that logo for the London Landmarks. What is it? Royal Parks? Yeah, you got hammered for that. So sort that logo out. Let me know. Email. What was the website thing?
FORDYruns.com/long run.
Go to the Royal Parks on Facebook. Look at their logo, and then send in if you agree that's the worst logo you've ever seen for a race. But anyway, my point is, in a serious point, do we think Brighton is going to go that route? Because it's a really popular race, yeah. London Marathon Events obviously going to chuck a load of money at it, which is good for the local community, good for the clubs around there, etc., which is great news. So they've saved that race. But do we, in all seriousness, think that's going to go to a ballot? And do we think, now here's the kicker, do we think this year's medal at Brighton is going to be wooden? Oh, leave that with you.
I do think that eventually these marathons are going to be ballots just by the number of people who are starting taking interest in looking to do one. I think it's a sort of like it's a knock-on effect of the sort of parkrun effect that parkrun a few years ago. People started doing a lot of people started doing that, and then they've developed their sort of running journey. And I think it's getting to the stage where lots of people want to try and do a marathon, don't have a cat and else chance of getting in for London. And they will find that these bigger races, I mean, you have to go through a ballot to get into the Great North Run. Didn't have to do, when I did the Dublin Marathon, that was a ballot. There's various events that you do have to sort of like try and, it's not guaranteed that you're going to get an entry. And I think that's just reflective of the number of people. It's reflective of running's popularity that people want to try their luck at 26.2 miles.
I think they'd be mad to make it a ballot though, because if you think London's a ballot and Brighton tends to be 2-3 weeks before London typically, and therefore when people don't get into London, which is 99.9% of people, they end up going to Manchester, Brighton, and wherever else, and therefore not being a ballot means that people just have that option to go, right, I can pay my 50, 60, 70, whatever amount of money.
£80.
£80 is criminal given how much London is. I can't. It's shocking, but it just gives people an option, doesn't it? And if it's run by the same, it's now run by London Marathon Events, obviously. I just think they'd be mad to make that a ballot. Like, just
I agree. I think they'd be nuts.
First come, first serve. But yeah,
what do you think, Speako? Or are you too ill to answer?
No, I've just been trying to update Facebook people. where YouTube
Don't
is.
tell lies. You've done nothing.
I don't think they will. I mean, I reckon they'll probably just go heavy on the marketing after the London ballot
Yeah.
announcement and go, oh, by the way, there's still places in.
Yeah,
Brighton.
because of course it's all money in their coffers, isn't it? It would
just siphon
allow. I mean, I always think that the thing about the London Marathon ballot was that it took so long that people weren't able to make their alternative arrangements in time to get various sort of early bird offers at other places, which was, it was great that like this year because of the because it moved from a October to a April event, they didn't have time to keep everybody hanging on for 6 months like they usually do. So at least you get it out there. Right, I didn't get in that, and then you can start looking at events that are sort of 6 months out. Like we're all going to Manchester. You can look at these things, and you can still get early bird offers and get cheap entry for that sort of time. So if they coordinate these things, I think there will be a high demand. The demand for running big races is not going to go down. It's not going to go away.
I think you're right, Will. And on a positive, I think it's a positive thing for everybody, the fact that they've taken it over and it's going to be back and it's going to be running. I said more importantly, local community and people who already entered. I think that's a good thing. I hope they improve the experience and do all the good things that they do with the London Marathon. I think that's really important and give people a focus. But you just reminded me of something. London Marathon. If you remember back, I don't remember who remembers back, who's listening to this maybe for the first time. They're going, what on earth have I tuned in for? This is crap like Triple X said it would be. But we had some good news on, if you remember, I did a bit of a rant and rave, which I don't tend to do much, about London Marathon events a few weeks ago, because we had an issue with a runner of ours who couldn't get a deferral from the big half. Long story short, that runner's now been given a deferral, and that's good news. So we are no longer boycotting that event, just to put it out there. I'm actually going to volunteer at that event. I'm not going to run it out of principle, because the cobbles I'll leave for you lot. You can crack on with that. I'm actually going to do a volunteer stint at that one, which I would recommend if you join the 40 Runs.
You'll thoroughly enjoy that, because I did one at I did the volunteering at the Landmarks last year, because I didn't get a place in the ballot. And it's a great way to still be involved in an event and have a great day and meet all your mates, see all your mates and have a good time, which is what it's all about.
So that was good news. Hopefully I'm not over in Greenwich, because I'll be just moaning all day because I've got to get home. I've got everybody who's doing Red January, because you'll be listening. Are we? No, this is not pre-recorded. This is live, isn't it? This one.
Yeah, we're live.
So
I know, mate. I don't know what day of the week it is.
So if you're doing Red January, well done. Good luck with the rest of the month. Where was it? The 6th. Is it the 6th or the 8th?
Yeah.
Let us know how you're getting on.
25 days left.
Yeah, so let us know how you've been getting on with your run streak for 6 days. But yeah, I think it's a good thing. The old Red January, that's a brilliant thing to get people out of the door, which is kind of where we're going, by the way, which we will get to in a second, about resolutions or goals, or I can't remember what we're talking about.
All sorts of general sort of stuff.
Whatever it is.
Sort of outlooks and things like that.
But yeah, so I think that's a positive thing. If you're a new runner, maybe you're listening to this because you started running. We did a good video today. Check it out. I'm going to say I'm going to cough. Still sick, but I'm still here. You're welcome, Tobe. But we put a good video out today. If you're a new runner and you need some shoes, check that out, because I get that a lot. But there's not many videos out there for new runners in running shoes. It's all about carbon plates and all sorts. Put a video out for you guys today.
Yeah. So if you're not on YouTube at the moment watching this live, then go to the 40 Runs YouTube channel. And loads of stuff on there. Last
plug, because then we're going to move on to talk about it. On Monday, well, probably Monday. Keep an eye. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, do that. But probably on Monday, we're going to be doing a YouTube-only live stream, 30 minutes. It's called Bite Size. It's just me. Crew's not here. It's just me. We're going to be hanging out, talking about stuff, shoes, and things like that. Check that out. That's probably going to be on Monday at about 7. Not 100% confirmed yet, but that's probably going to be starting because, we're going to be doing that from probably Monday. But that's not confirmed.
Is that going to be more sort of techie sort of stuff and trainer sort of related things, or is it going to be a variety sort of thing?
Yeah, it's more tech. It's more trainer, shoe. So because we get a lot of people asking us stuff about running shoes and things like that, which is awesome. So keep it coming. Just keep firing it in the same way. But try and combat some of that. Update you guys a little bit more on actually what we're running in this week, and what videos we've got coming out. So it's a little bit more video shoe focused, but it will just be me talking complete rubbish for about 30 minutes. But it's again, viewer interaction. That's the key to it. Just to hang out for half hour, 45 minutes, see how we go. But that's probably going to be next week.
He's underplaying it again. Loads of great trainer advice and
that sort of stuff.
Things like that. So I won't let him do himself down. It'll be well worth your time on Monday for half an hour to listen to him chew the cud about Asics and Brooks. And
have you seen that?
Yeah.
So is the bike video coming? Yeah, the bike video part. So if anybody's not right, again, apologies to those who are listening to this for the first time. KK, what was it? XXX? No, it's not crap. The first video of my idiot rides a bike, an idiot builds a bike, was out last weekend. The second part of me trying to get on the thing and ride it is this weekend. Simon found the whole thing rather amusing. Watch it. It comes out Sunday, 11 o'clock. So Camman UK is out on Sunday. It's hilarious. I've had so many people asking me when the second video is coming out. I think they know what's coming.
It's going to be good value, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on Sunday. So
this is all part of. If you're not a regular listener, if you've just chanced upon us before, this is because Chris absolutely hates cycling, and Toby has signed him up to do the Ride 100, which is a major amateur bike ride for 100 miles, and he insists that he's just going to go and eat sausage sandwiches and things like that. But he's making a bit of an effort. He's got himself a bike, and he is now going to give us a diary of what is of his cycling
the diary's only 2 episodes. That's it. I'm not doing any more biking. Big news though. Big news. Have you seen on Instagram who else has been on a bike this week?
Yes.
Hayden.
Yes.
Has been on a bike. So usually, guys, we rotate with the presenters. So Hayden, one of the co-hosts, he's around somebody else's house tonight. We don't know whose. He's in there eating their food, but he's actually got given a bike for Christmas. He's been out on it this week because he's so injury prone because of his age. He's trying to strengthen up around his knees and stuff like that. So he's gone and got this bike. It's got stabilizers on and all that sort of stuff, as you'd expect for his age. But he's been out there on his bike. Has it been once or twice this week? I don't know. Toby, you'll stalk people on Strava. You know you do. How many times have you been out? How many times have you been out?
Definitely been out once. And what I heard, I think he rode to the gym. So he's cycling, going to the gym and running. He's putting us to shame, really.
Gosh, that's like your own little mini triathlon, isn't it?
He's got 8 marathons this year, people. So, he's got to do Boston, Tokyo. When is Tokyo, by the way? The Tokyo Marathon?
It's quite early, isn't it? It's in March, I think.
Is it March? Okay.
Yeah.
And when's Boston?
April. Is that right?
April.
Like I'll never know when Boston.
He's got Tokyo in March. Then he's got is it then Manchester? Toke, when's Manchester?
I just go where I'm told, to be honest. I've got no idea. Somewhere around April, I think.
April the 16th.
So March 8. Right, okay. So, Wilco, what are we talking about tonight?
We are talking about running goals.
Running goals? Oh, what, should you have them?
Management of, should you have them? Management of your expectations, things like that for the next 12 months, because it's obviously a time when people, hear about, I'm going to do this for New Year, I'm going to do that for New Year, and all this sort of thing. But if we're taking a more systematic look at what we're going to be looking at for the next 12 months, more sort of like managing expectations, managing how to obtain your goals, and making them attainable as well, I suppose. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Yeah, I know where you're going with this. So I think there was a post saying, about New Year's resolutions, right? And Al, by the way, big shout out to Al, who's out, and some of the other guys from the 40 runs who are out in the US at Disney at the moment doing the Disney thing this weekend. Big shout out to you guys. But he said actually resolutions are not necessarily the best thing because they get broken kind of thing. And they're like a thing that you just go to the wayside. You're better off picking specific things and trying to achieve those, which kind of made sense. Now, we is that come out yet? That podcast we did with 2,000 goals.
Yeah, that was last week.
Yeah, listen to that last week. But in that, we gave ourselves some goals. Some of us specific, some of us doing a couple of marathons early doors. Who was that again? I can't remember who was doing a couple of marathons. And then you sort of pick those things and try and run with it. But what we're trying to say on this is, are they actually any good for you? Are they detrimental really to your training? And I don't know the answer, but what I would say is this. This week at the two clubs that we coach at here in Hertfordshire, I told the guys that basically over the next 12 weeks, they're going to be doing this, X, Y, and Z. Come on to it if you're really interested. Let us know in the comments. But with the goal of X at the end of it. Okay. So I've given them a short-term goal, which I think as runners is actually a good thing. So when I'm coaching people, I'm asking for short, medium, and long-term goals. That's how my mindset works with my runners. Okay. So this week, I gave the Hertford guys and the Broxham guys effectively a short-term goal, which is over the next 12 weeks, we are going to make you fitter and faster. Okay. How are we going to do that? I said, we'll go use there. Basically, we've got 12 sessions that will run them through that will all be high efforts that we're going to focus on effectively speed. But that's a short-term 12-week goal. And I think that's a very good thing to have as a runner because it gives you that narrow focus. Because as runners, we do tend to, we're in these training blocks, or we've got a race in 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, whatever it is, or maybe your A races at the end of the year. We can get a little bit ahead of ourselves. We can start drifting a little bit further, and actually it's detrimental to your training. So what I try to do today is narrow the focus, or this week, narrow the guys' focus. And I think it could be something that could work for you. So, Wilco, how did you feel on what day was it? Tuesday
and Wednesday. I did the double header.
Oh, yeah. So what?
I joined the dark side. Went to Brox Farm.
When I stood there and gave you basically the news, which is a shock, that this is what we're going to do. What did you feel? Did you think that was a good thing or bad thing?
Well, personally, I always think that this is. I like the harder sessions when I come on a Tuesday because it helps me manage the rest of my week. Particularly if I'm in a training plan and I'm going to be out 5 or 6 days a week, the old adage about 80%, the 80-20 sort of, the theory. I know it's great to know that if I go on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, depending on which one I go to that week, that I'm going to get my intense 20% session on a Tuesday or a Wednesday night. So it helps me manage everything. I would completely agree with you, Chris, that if you want goals, you've got to chop them up into little bits and do little sections. Because the trouble is that if you make we'll say resolution for want of a better word, on January the 1st that you want to do something, then you can't just wait until December the 31st and look back at it and say, well, I did that. You've got to think about how am I actually going to do that? And sometimes you need tangible goals. I mean, there were lots of people on that feed. They said, oh, I want to run more consistently. Well, the best will in the world. What does that mean? You've got to, maybe you need, some people need targets and need tangible, quantifiable targets to do. And other people, they want to see gradual improvement. I think if you gradually improve during the course of the year, then that's a great way of doing it, to chop it up into little bits and regularly review how you're getting on. It's a bit like, if you're losing weight or something like that, or it's exactly the same.
Yeah, give yourself a period.
I think goals are different for different people. And I think people often think about them when they talk about goals it's got to be improvement, faster, longer distance, whatever. But a goal can be just to be, just to maintain where you're at, or to stay injury free. And that's okay too. Or actually to enjoy it more. We spoke a lot about that on the show that went out last week, because we all kind of went, hold on, none of us spoke about a specific time or like really specific event related stuff. It was all just about, we're just going to go out and have a good year, and we're going to enjoy what we do and have some fun. And I think that's okay too. Like I always talk about Gemma, who co-hosts the women's show, and she just goes out and enjoys her running. And because sometimes, with all goodwill in the world, you put these plans in place, they won't happen. Life happens around us. So I think it's just about understanding what and why and how it's going to make you feel. And if actually you're
going to be on different parts of the journey. I mean, you mentioned Gemma. Gemma's done 11, 12 marathons or something like that. So she's a certain distance along her journey that she's bought the t-shirt. She's been there and done it. So you talked about looking at it. I mean, one of my goals would be that I would quite like to race less passively, if you see what I mean. I would like to I'd like to find that happy middle ground between busting a gut to try and get a particular time and going and having a laugh with my mates. I just want to find that middle ground, and perhaps, I mean, this might, people might say, oh, you're the 60% runner, and this all flies in the face of that. But it doesn't really, because that's all been taken out of context. What I would say is that I just want
to... Who took it out of context?
You.
It wasn't me. It was, I tell you who did it. It was Hayden. 100% it was Hayden. He's not here.
Yeah, let's blame Hayden. Okay, we'll blame Hayden. I'll let you off.
Okay, I want to go back a step here. Wait, because you just said something really interesting. Oh, by the way, thanks for the comments, Mark, everybody, JBS, everybody who's been commenting, right? We'll get to them in a minute. And I saw a really good comment from Robert Hallam. Robert, stick to the end because we're going to answer your question. No, you said something interesting about you want to race harder, was it? You said, what was your exact words?
Well, less passive.
Less passive.
Yeah, so that not just sort of like turn up and have a good time.
Yes. Now,
I know that is a massive, see, that might fly in the face of what the community and the club's all about.
I'm with you.
But do you see what I mean?
Yeah, because Hayden can tell you, because it was actually his wife. We was running the Olympic Park half, and I said to her, I caught her up and towards the end, and I made the comment. So she was putting along. She was doing exceptionally well, as she always does. And I said to her, "Let's go. You've got to remember, this is a race. You're here to race." And she stepped on it. Right? She had a flying finish. And it is that mentality, because sometimes, and I'm not saying it's all the time, but it is a good mindset to get into, to use those races to actually race. It's great having a good time. Yeah, I'm not saying that, because 90% of the time I'm there, but it does do you good to step on it occasionally. It really, I'm mucking around with sounding. It really does make a big difference if you actually turn up sometimes with a mindset of, not I'm going to run a time. I'm not going to, but to give yourself a little bit of a sharpener on the start line. Say, right, I'm going to go out and I'm going to try and do this today. Because I think that really focuses you on in your training as well. It just gives you that little spring. Because yes, some races, like if I'd done Buntingford, I'd have just gone around there and just annoyed Ben for an hour and a half. That's fine, right? But if I'm going to go to, I don't know, Winter 10K, right, and I'm feeling better, I'll step on it. I'll go, right, let's try and put a shift in. I want to see where I am fitness-wise. This is a race. It's an environment in which my adrenaline's up. I'm going to go for it. And I do think you benefit from, like you just said, Wilco, not being so passive in those races. Not all the time, but do you know what I mean? Some of the time. Make sense, admin?
Yeah, it does. I also think, because you just said something interesting there, like if you feel better and good and you get there in the morning and go, right, I'm going to put my foot on it. Brilliant. But also, I think the aftermath of those things is really important as well. So it's fine to have goals and kind of go, right, this is my goal for this run, this event, race, whatever. Sometimes it will happen and sometimes it won't, right? And you've got to the highs will come and the lows will come. And I think knowing that afterwards, it's all right to feel frustrated, annoyed, gutted, reflect a bit on what's gone on, but then you can't let it get to you. You've got to move on from it, because otherwise it just becomes debilitating and you go, well, actually my next run's not going to be as good. So I think goals need to be adjusted as you go through the year, through the motions as well.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just yeah. It's a funny old thing, but it's a really good, interesting point you made there, Wilco, about that. But that could be a goal for you through the year, is to maybe pick one or two of those races that you might have in the past casually rocked up, been out the night before like you do, Wilco, your Chinese, your pizza, your 8 desserts, 18 pints, and then gone for your race. You might say to yourself, no, actually, I'm going to go to bed early. I'm not going to have those crisps and I'm going to get on it in the morning. Yeah. It's a different mindset, but are you only going to do that?
I'm never going to be this sort of person who sort of like goes crashing across the finish line. Oh God, I'm gutted. 30 seconds outside what time I wanted to do or anything like that. It's just not in my mentality. I'm just not like that.
No.
But I just think, yeah, just give it, well, take the marathon, for example. I've done 3 now. I can get round. Should I be thinking, let's try and manage it a bit more. Let's try and not necessarily go for a time, but let's try and make it a more comfortable experience by getting the training in,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
getting
Well, that's a different-
organised,
well, yeah, that's a different thing.
sorting my
Committing to your
food out,
training,
and doing stuff like that.
committing to your training is slightly different. I think for you, Wilco, yeah, the more I know you're on a weight loss thing, that will help you with more, from mentally than anything else, because you feel mentally, physically, you just feel much more in tune. But I think, like as we said on Tuesday, I go back to what I said, doing that really hard work. I said to all of you, and I said the same on Wednesday, this is going to be hard work, people, right? But at the end of this 12 weeks, you are going to feel a difference. If you commit, I said the words, if you commit to these sessions. And I would say the same to anybody listening to this, whatever your goals are, you're only going to achieve them by committing to them. There's no point like saying somebody earlier said, and well played, I'm doing dry January, right? But then in a couple of days' time, you're back on it. You really do have to commit to these things. Like people who do, veganuary, they do a fantastic job. But they stick to it. Or red January, these people, or like look at Ben and then they went through and they stuck to their goals. All right, it's a long-term thing. But if you are going to pick something, and I think that's the key to giving yourself these goals, then commit to them and do them. That's why I think you've got to pick stuff that's achievable, that you can actually, if you knuckle down, let's say like Wilco, you drop a bit of weight, you improve your lifestyle a little bit, that actually if you commit to that, you've probably got a good chance of doing it. There's no point Wilco saying, I'm going to run 3.5 hour marathon tomorrow. What's that, Wilco?
Something that's attainable, but it's just that in reach. You've got to get out there and you've got to put yourself out to get it. There's no point having a goal that's too easy to get.
Yeah, someone said it earlier in one of the comments. They said, try and make the goal SMART, which if you don't know what that stands for, is specific, measurable, achievable, or attainable, I think, realistic and time related. God,
well done, admin.
Homework.
Well done.
But yeah, so picking it off and actually going, right, if it is about, I want to run an X minute 10K, or I want to get through a training block, or I want to feel, whatever they are, doing that will help focus the mind, I think. And can I just say that comments just made me laugh. I was inspired by one of your friends to try a 10K on no sleep.
Yeah, have you seen the video? Guys, check the video out. We did. And bless them, some people thought actually that video was us being serious. I just give a bit of a spoiler to anybody who watches our videos. 90% of them are us taking the you know what, okay? So but watch it. It's quite funny. But I think, what you just said, what Tobe said, was it, I get confused now. But what Tobe said about that thing, his goal was to complete a training block.
Yeah.
Like, because we're not taking the mickey for once, Tobe. Last few training blocks, you struggled to, do the whole thing because of injury, because of work or whatever, where you sit down, you don't do an active job. But, your actual achievement that you wanted to get this year was actually to complete a training block, which seems mad.
How many weeks into your training block are you, Toby?
Yeah, Tobe, how many weeks are you into training?
I got no idea.
And which marathon was that again? Did you say Manchester?
Manchester, yeah.
And when's that?
April.
Well,
okay,
if you've got a 16-week plan, we're in week 2 now for Manchester.
Right.
Brilliant. So you see, problem is I've never completed them, so I gave up setting them. My goal is to get out and run when I can.
Yeah,
enjoy
it. He doesn't have a plan. His plan is to run.
That's almost a micro goal, isn't it? You look at, Toby's, whenever we're in communication about this podcast, and we try to sort of like look ahead, and we're trying to, sort of like, oh, well, what we're going to do on X week in the future. Toby's like, oh, that's a long way away. That's always
true.
You seem like somebody whose strengths are to deal with sort of like immediate goals, and that immediate goal, without taking the mick, could be, I want to get out 3 times this week. I want to do 20 miles or whatever. They're very, your goals always seem to be extremely short term.
I think the thing I've learned that my life is quite complicated and changes quite quickly. So, setting goals too far in advance doesn't really work for me. But to go out and have a goal, it could be, right, I think I can get out 4 times this week. I'll do that. And I want to make one of them a speed session. And that's the goal, is to chuck a speed session in there somewhere. But, not everybody can work like that, but it works for you. Yeah. works for me, and that's all that matters, you know. And if I don't get out
At the
4
end of
times
the
a
day,
week,
mate, that's exactly it. You've just got to find that goals in any goals in life. You know, you've got to find a way of doing it that fits in with your lifestyle and the way that and your character.
yeah. And I think the important thing as well is if you've got a goal and you don't hit it, is don't beat yourself up about it. It's stuff happens, you know. It's brilliant to try and keep to it, and I think you've got to have that goal to. What are you laughing at? You've got to have that goal to aim towards, but if you don't make it, you don't make it, and that's all it is. You know, it's not life and death. It's you just carry on, aim for the next one.
Just carry on. It's quite amusing. It is though. But you see him, and then what's annoying is he just bowls about. He did 17 miles the other week, obviously because he's only just started marathon training for the April marathon. But he rocked out 17 miles like he ain't done nothing. And tomorrow, on those 16 miles, he's gonna drop everybody with a couple of miles to go, just down the river like he ain't done nothing. And then you won't see him for 2 weeks. But as you say, Wilco, I don't know how he does it. I couldn't live like that. But I suppose it's whatever works for you, right?
What are you like, Chris? If you set goals and you don't achieve them, what do you do then?
I don't really set goals. I think if you whenever that podcast came out, last week, thank you, Admin. I didn't set any goals apart from my 10K, but that's because it's an anomaly. That's really the only thing. I have enough trouble worrying about the 5 lists that I've got written down here because of my ADHD, I'm off the charts. So if I start setting goals to do things, can you imagine? I would literally get no sleep. I mean, I have enough trouble getting enough deep sleep. My watch told me this morning I had like 43 minutes of deep sleep out of 8 hours. Work that out. That's because my brain's going
because we've got the polar opposites, really, haven't we?
Yeah. That's why Toby and I get on so well. That's why he loves running with me, because we are literally completely opposite in terms of what you've got. You've got someone who's like all the time, and then you just got Toby who's like flatlining. That's why it works. So that's why he loves running with me. That's why I got him to run that 3:46 in Amsterdam, because he ran with me for that first half and he loved it, didn't he, Toby?
I loved it so much. I just had to get that little bit ahead.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. It's motivating, Wilco. So maybe, Wilco, on your races where you don't want to be passive, I'll run with you. How good would that be? Look at his little face. Now he's happy. Look.
Well, I've got a bone to pick with you actually about something you said last week.
Oh no,
a bit of a throwaway comment because I wasn't available because I was while people were recording podcasts, I was at the Yuletide coalface, trying to earn a living. But so I wasn't available. But you dropped in the line. You said, "Let's sign Wilco up for a triathlon. That'll be a laugh."
Definitely would be a laugh.
I always listen to podcasts in bed, and I was listening, and I was just sort of like dozing off, bolt upright. What?
I think it's a good idea. No, actually, was it not Hayden who said that?
No, it was definitely you.
Well, I think it's a good idea, Wilco.
Can you swim?
Yeah.
Yeah. And can you do biking?
We've got to stay strong, mate, with the biking thing. That we're not going to get embroiled in all.
But there will be a bike for sale in May. So there will be a good bike for sale in May. One very good user, very rarely used.
One not very careful owner.
Yeah. So, but no, being serious, I think because Hayden was talking about, because he's getting old, he wants to do an Ironman right before literally before he hits 70. So he's like literally got 3 or 4 years to do it. But he wants to do this Ironman, right? And then he was talking about me doing a triathlon because I'm young, good looking. He thought I could be able to do it quite easily, which makes sense, right? But I think it would be good for you, Wilco, because you're cross training to get in and doing all the other stuff. I generally thought it's a good idea. Give it a go. Get out of your comfort zone.
Well, I live in a flat, so having a bike's not ideal, really.
Well, but you could get a pool. You could get one of them like blow up ones, paddling pool, and swim around your lounge.
I'll get a hot tub like Billy.
Well, why don't you get one of them things? What are they called that everyone's got?
A Peloton.
But don't get a Peloton, right? Get a TV, put it up on bricks. And I'll ring you up and shout at you. And you can put a calendar up from about 1970, if you know what I mean. Because that's basically what that Peloton looks like. It's all these, they all look like that. And then you can just look at that. I can shout at you, tell you what to do, put some loud music on. Everyone could just ring you up and tell you you're doing a good job. And you've saved yourself. How much is Peloton a year?
Bike's about £1,000, isn't it?
Yes, I've saved you £1,000, Wilco. You're welcome.
Sounds great,
So
mate.
there you go.
We'll talk about another
By the way,
time. I mean,
Peloton,
talking about
if you want to sponsor the podcast, how they do it?
they drop us a line at
40runs.com.
40runs.com/long run. I
Got
mean,
to be at least 100 grand.
we have touched upon something that I mean, I don't want to take over and say it's all about me and everything, but
Please.
the thing is also that next week I've got a landmark birthday. So you're talking
How old?
about, now I'm talking about goals, about what am I going to, like the big outlook. What am I going to do, when I'm, what am I going to, sometimes like your goals are not going to be yearly. They're going to be like, what would I really like to do? Where does my journey want to go?
Right. Well, hang on a sec. This is now going off into more spiritual territory here, Wilco. This is like, you're basically getting to the point, right? You're going to be 10 years younger still than Hayden, but you're hitting the big 5-0 next week, and you're starting to question the meaning of life. You actually, with your beard, you look like Life of Brian. So you're
Is this
you're
like
going
a
that way.
live therapy session now?
Yeah, it's just like therapy, isn't it?
It's great.
But
We've
in
got
all
to fill now
seriousness,
some out tabs.
in all seriousness, right, it is an interesting point because I do know people like yourself, Wilco. They go, right, by the time I'm 40, I want to do X, Y, Z. By the time I've hit 50, what can I achieve good for age? Or I want to be able to do my first triathlon, or like Hayden, before I get to 70 in 3 years' time, I want to make sure I've done an Ironman. It's that sort of thing. Does age, your age, which is just a number, people, but does your age actually make you pick goals? Here's an interesting, right? So, Tobe, you're about 12. Does your age make a difference to your goals that you set for
No,
yourself?
couldn't care
No.
less.
Admin, never ask a lady her age. So, do you, sort of worry about that sort of stuff with regards to your goals? Did well there, boys.
No, not at all. But I imagine a lot of women may do because
Okay.
we
But
are naturally, there's lots of things going on that men don't have to deal with. So
I would just say, last time we started making comments, we got hammered in the reviews. Please leave us a positive review because admin got told off on the reviews. Well, it wasn't her, it was a guest, but make sure you give us a positive review. Wilco, so going back to you because you started this convo.
Yeah.
And I do believe we've gone off topic, but who cares? So you be now turning 15.
Yeah.
Right. Are you going to let that define your goals? I wouldn't personally.
I think what I might do is that I won't beat myself up about the times that I've done, and I will now sort of like almost set new ones as sort of like, oh, this is the park run I've done since I turned 50 and things like that. So then you get your own little, targets and things like that. Not worry too much about, what I did 5 years ago. I'm in the position where I came into running 6 years ago. I didn't do anything before. And I know that for a lot of people, when they get to middle age and beyond, find it hard to struggle when they're sort of like, oh God, well, when I was 25, I could run 5K in 23 minutes. And now it takes me 33 and things like that. See, I haven't got that because when I was 23, I was drinking 6 pints a night and smoking a packet of fags, so it
You
wasn't.
do that before a marathon, apart from the fags.
Well, some things never changed, mate.
Yeah,
but, so I haven't got that, God, I was doing this when I was in my 20s thing because I wasn't doing it. So I think that I might sort of like almost draw a line in the sand and say, this is where I'm at. This is what I've done before 50. If I break, I'm not going to beat myself up if I don't beat the times that I'm going to do that I've done before. But it would be nice to keep a track of the things that I've done since my 50th birthday and look to improve on that.
but
I
it
mean,
isn't
you'll
going to just
think,
change. Yeah, because I was like, it doesn't just change overnight, does it?
No.
Right. So what you've run in the last year doesn't suddenly just disappear. Do you get what I mean? It's like suddenly starting afresh again.
I don't think you should be governed by your age.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I look, right. I knew a cowboy, right?
Oh, God.
And him and I, we regularly when we was out in Arizona, we regularly went to the the local honky tonk and all that sort of stuff. He was really old, right? And he lived the best life all the way up till he sadly passed away a couple of years ago, right? But I'm being serious. We used to go out there and we used to do the barrel racing. We used to do all that sort of stuff. And he was like 40 years older than me, okay? And you would never, ever believe it, because he simply did not believe that age was a limiting factor. And he lived that methodology all the way until his last days. And it was truly inspiring. I'm being deadly serious, yeah? A guy of his age to be getting away with what he was doing. And so that's why I don't think you should. I know it's hard because like running is a physical activity and it is age dependent. Yeah, I get that. And you will be impacted by age, as you know, and your performance. But at the same time, I don't think you should ever let you determine your goals. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't. I don't know. Listen, that's just me, but I wouldn't be thinking, oh, I'm going to be 50. Oh, I'm.
But the flip side is, I imagine for some people, whether it be resetting it yearly, whenever it turns your birthday, or annually on New Year or whatever, it gives people a fresh line in the sand. And actually, it goes, whether it's been a good year or a bad year, time to reset, time to refocus, and where do you go now?
That's
so
true.
I think that's, in that sense, it's quite good, because it might be, as I said, it might be about faster, quicker, going further, or it might just be about.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. So I get, actually, Wilco. So actually, maybe what you are thinking is, I'm now 50. Draw a line. This is now gonna. This is, you know, this is the bad stuff I can't do nothing about. I'm not saying, but you know what I mean. This is now, look. This is a different mindset. Maybe that could be a good way of doing it.
I'm not saying that I can't do things that I'm doing now and I've done over the last 2 years in the next 2 or 3 years. You know, I'm not saying, oh God, well, I'm 50 now, I won't be able to do that. You know, there's many more adventures to be had, and I'm looking forward to doing them.
Yeah.
I've just read something, Robert. Can you clarify whether we're meant to do it this week or next week? I won't say what, but just let me know in the comments, and we'll come back to that.
We've had loads of comments, and we've hardly touched on them,
we must. So there's one guy here, something run the great or something. FORDY, you're not like the flashiest runner. I am. I'm very flash. You always go to a marathon with top end Nikes. That's not true, because I went to Amsterdam with Adidas that. Big friend of the show, and my mate JBS gave me, so they were used. But I would love the fact that they were used by that man. So that's not true. Is that to feel fancy, or does it help with the damage of your feet? None of my feet are damaged, apart from when the time I wore a pair of Nike Alpha Flies for the first time, and I had a massive blister on the arch, but I sorted that out by wearing them. It's funny you wear the shoes to wear them, to run in them. But yes, I don't really know what you're talking about. Maybe you don't, whatever. Just reconfirm what you're trying to get at, because I've got no idea what you're talking about. What else have we got in there?
What's that one that's just come through from John? Do you like running to or from destination?
Love it. Yeah, I think it's the best thing. It's that going, that mentality, like which we just said, at the front end of breaking it down, whether it's your goals, whether it's your training block, whether it's you're in a 26.2 mile marathon, breaking down the distance. For me personally, that works really, really well to break down the run. So to going out, so the guys, I think I'll probably come in now, but so tomorrow, 16 miles. I know we've got to get to park run. I'll be focused on getting to park run. I'll be then focused on doing that park run. And I'll be focused on running home. So all I know is I've got to get home. I've got to go up Shuffle Hill and I've got to get home. That's all I've got to do. Ty will leave me at some point and I've got to get home. So I love running to something. And it's funny, I gave some advice to one of our runners in Hertford. She was struggling a little bit, and I just said, look, just take your watch off and just run to the shops and come back. That's all you got to do. Doesn't matter how far it is. Just run to the shops and come back. Once you've done that a few times, run to the petrol station or whatever's a little bit further away. Just run there and then run back. It actually really helps up here because it's, again, gives you a goal in that run. So I think that's
I'm a big fan of that. I went out today. I did 12 miles. I just literally went up the road 6 miles, turned around, to come back again.
Yeah. Oh, what's this? Peloton does make you. Why it does that? We'll leave for another day. Yeah. See, Ryan, I've just saved you all thousands of pounds. Everyone's got Peloton. I've just saved you millions. Right? Peloton will probably now sue me. We'll get in touch with the lawyers again. But I've just saved everyone millions. Get your bike, put it on bricks, get a calendar. I'll ring you up, give you motivation. Job done.
This is a nice comment from Joanna. She says, I think whilst age over time might impact your performance, age is also a benefit. Life experiences, maturity, etc. I'm 46 and setting the biggest goals of my life now.
Really good point. A really good point. I was talking to one of my runners about this today. He's training for, I could give him a shout, Steve. He's training for Brighton. We had the exact conversation, which is experience. he's going to be going for another marathon. I said, the more marathons you do, the more experience you get, the better you're going to get at them. Even now, I think I've done 10 marathons, something like that. I'm nowhere, right? You see these guys who do 100. They're incredible. You learn so much from doing a marathon. The more of them you do, it doesn't matter. Maybe your flavor is half marathons or 10Ks or 5Ks, whatever it is. But the more of you done more you do something, the more you're going to improve at it. Because as you say, you're going to get that experience from it, and you're going to understand it, and you're going to go through it. You're going to have ups and you're going to have downs, but you will benefit from it. So yes, I do agree with you on that point. Ryan Stevens is back. I hate to break it to you, for not quite the same as the instructors on Peloton. I think we should leave the convo there, Ryan, because we're going to get into a lot of trouble. Probably.
I like this one as well. Two Sheds. Glenn said, I'm 63 this year and I'm doing the Great North Run again, hoping to keep doing sub 2 hours until I'm at least 70. Brilliant.
Hero. Yeah,
Well done,
absolute
mate.
hero. Don't let age be, as I said to you, look at my friend the cowboy. So there you go. I mean, what are you going to say?
Nothing. I was going to say, do you want to do the Robert Hallam one? Because that's this week. He's
Oh,
confirmed.
blimey. Yeah. And well, hang on. What not
the thing. Yeah. He said
this week, please. We'll be boarding this. So we've got to do it now.
yes.
Yes.
Go on then.
No, go on. It's over to you.
No, but I don't know what I've got to say because I'm not ready.
So big shout out to Michelle Hallam, who is turning 50 next Friday. And Robert is going to be taking her to New York. And she doesn't know, but she does now, because this is the first time she'll be hearing about it. So happy birthday to Michelle.
Happy birthday.
Start spreading the news.
Yeah. Trip to
They
New
got
York.
seat 1A.
Happy birthday. What's that, Tobe?
Then seat 1A.
Yeah, are you flying her seat 1A, Robert? She's gonna love that surprise that you've flown her out business class. You've got a limo waiting for her at the other end, and you're staying at the Hyatt or somewhere like that. You've got a really, I mean, she's going to be made up. I hope we haven't let that secret out that she's flying 1A in business class all the way there.
But big shout out to that family as well, because it's their daughter that's out in Asia that's going to come on the podcast, and that you sent a voice note, a video to on Christmas Eve.
Yeah. Do we know if she got that?
Oh, I don't know.
Robert, let us know. I did a message. Oh, right. So what day was it? I can't remember because
We were
brain's
ordering them,
fried.
weren't we? It was Christmas Eve.
Yeah,
It was Christmas
Eve.
Eve. So she, I mean, you tell them a story because I've got to have a drink because I'm going to cough.
So basically, I think it's Natasha, and I feel like saying Rebecca Hallam. I might have got the name slightly wrong, so forgive me. But one of them's out in Southeast Asia at the moment, traveling, and her sister was at Aldenham where we were running Parkrun on Christmas Eve, and Chris kindly sent her a video message to wish her Merry Christmas. So we don't know if she got it or not, so please do let us know. Robert Hallam and Michelle are going in premium. So
all right, Robert, you better put the style on. I've got to give a shout out to JBS, who's been a member of the channel. Just come up one here. I've just seen it for 16 months. What a hero. You can be a member of the channel. I've got no idea what you get, but thanks very much, JBS, for being good mate and being a hero. Right. I've got to where was Robert Hallam's question? Because I want to answer that before we go.
Oh, right, yeah. Hold on.
It's a really important question, and it's really critical that you listen to the answers, people.
The question is, need to know if the Long Run podcast were entering a team for Run Disney, what dwarves would they run as? Go easy on people, Chris Ford.
Why?
So he basically wants to say, you to tell us, or tell the listeners, which of the 7 dwarves we'd all be.
What are the 7 dwarves? Or can I make it up?
You can do whatever you want.
Make it up.
Right, so I'm allowed to tell you what you would be, or we got to
no, you tell us what we'd all be.
You can allocate us a dwarf.
What are the names of the dwarfs? I'm going to Google it. Hang on.
Happy, Bashful, Sleepy, Doc.
Hang on. 7 dwarfs. By the way, let us know in the comments. Send in the
thing. Bringing on a quiz night.
Send the thing in. What do you think who's going to be what? Right, so here we go. You've got what were the original 7 dwarfs? You've got Bashful, Doc, Dopey, Grumpy, Happy, Sleepy, and Sneezy. Right, I'm going to say, obviously, Tobe is Grumpy. Right. I'm going to say Hayden is no, I'm going to say I'm going to say Wilco's Happy.
Oh,
yeah,
thank you very much.
Wilco's Happy. Admin Sneezy because she's always got a cold. Al, I'm going to call the Doc because he's always out there helping people and supporting people. I'm obviously Bashful. That's it, isn't it? Is that everyone?
Yeah, I
Hayden.
think everyone's been allocated, haven't they?
So have I done a good job there, guys?
Hmm.
Or would you disagree?
Yeah, done well, mate. Yeah.
I'm Snow White. I'm not being a dwarf.
Who's Snow White?
Me.
I took your own game up, sister.
Oh, no.
Having it. It's a bit strong.
That
Yeah,
weren't the
'cause
question.
I'm like 4. Well, so it's totally unrelated. Who says Chris is grumpy? It's a bit strong, isn't it?
Oh, that's a bit harsh.
There's not one. I thought someone was going to say Moni because that. Yeah,
So they're all doing the there's 5 or 6 40s doing them, including now doing the Dopey Challenge, I think it is. So they've done 5K, they did a 10K, and now they've got to do a half marathon tomorrow, and then they've got to do a full marathon on Sunday.
I don't know how they're doing that. I just don't. I
Tell
tell you what.
It's starting at 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah, they've got to be up at 2:30. The race starts at 5. I think the marathon's got a cut-off of like 6 hours after doing a half the day before, a 10K the day before that, and a 5K before that.
I would quite happily run 44 miles to get away from Disneyland. You wouldn't catch me there.
Oh, no, you got to get. Yeah, actually, I'm going to call you Grumpy now.
Good.
I'll change your name, Grumpy. Disney's lovely, mate. Disney's good.
No.
Disney's fun. Look at him. Look.
Well, my daughter was there last week.
He's all grumpy now.
She was grumpy. She only got 2 rides all day.
You can keep your Disney.
What?
You can keep your Disney.
Where they got? Oh, hang on. I've got a question. Serious question. Whereabouts? Oh, Disney World. Where is Disney World?
Orlando.
Isn't it? Haven't they got some elsewhere in the world?
Yeah, they got one in Hong Kong.
Paris.
Anywhere else? Tokyo?
There's got to be more.
Is there one in Tokyo? It's funny. It's like you've got where there's like marathons going on. Funny we had someone who's going to Tokyo could find out for us.
Hayden can let you know.
Oh yeah, Hayden could let us know, couldn't he? When is that again? When's Hayden off to Disney?
March, apparently.
Sometime in March, isn't it?
Oh, there is one in Tokyo.
Yeah, see, I'll tell you why, because I know, because I've been there. I just remembered. No, I've been serious. I've been to Tokyo.
Yeah.
And I went to Disney.
There's Tokyo
Singapore.
Disneyland and Tokyo Disney Sea. You can go and swim with the dolphins as well.
There's one in Hong Kong, and they one in Singapore as well.
Possibly.
By the way,
they're
what's this
hardly
got to do with
exclusive
running?
now. Then it sounds like it's a bit like McDonald's. There seems to be one everywhere.
What's this got to do with running, people?
I don't know. Well, they're in Disney. That's what they're doing. They're running round.
Because this is the largest independent running podcast in the UK, and all we've talked about is, from what memory, nothing about running tonight. Have we talked about running tonight? I can't remember.
We've talked about the psychology of running, mate. That's
we got deep, didn't we? Deep into age.
Yeah.
We went deep. Next week, right? So after this week, is it tonight? So we're filming a special tonight. Is that next week is coming out?
No, we're coming out the week after, because 2 weeks tomorrow we shall be appearing on stage at the National Running Show at the NEC in Birmingham. Tell your friends, get your tickets, come and see us.
So next week, just not that I'm trying to sort out my calendar on live on people's time, but next week I've got to be here live. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, thanks. Okay, but you're not here.
Well, I won't be there because I'll be starting a week of celebrations.
You'll be upside down because it'll be your 50th. We'll have to get the other old boy in, Hayden. We'll have to wheel him out, get him back in. Al will be back so we can find out how broken he is. So, yeah, that'd be good. And Tobe, are you actually going to try and get us on Facebook and add any value next week, or no?
It's a bit early to tell, really. I'll think about it later.
Right, Wilco, I think you better take us out.
There you go. Thanks, everybody, for your company today. And Toby's technical guidance. Well, we'll take a rain check on that, but never mind. Big shout out to Skechers for their support and to all you listeners for your questions. Great questions and your attention. We're on YouTube and hopefully Facebook next Friday, every Friday at 7 o'clock. But if you can't catch us, then you can find us on your favorite podcast provider of choice, whether that be Apple, Amazon, Spotify. So you can listen to us when you're in your own time all week, when you're out on your long run. You can please send us a review, say nice things, because we are nice, really. It would be lovely. Don't forget, if you've got a question, drop us a line, an email to 40runs.com/longrun on the 40 Runs site, and that will get to us. Or leave us a message on the 40 Runs on the Long Run Facebook page, because we've got our own Facebook page. So go along to that, like that, drop us a message on there. That'll be lovely. That'd be really good. So please enjoy your running this week. Stay safe, and we'll see you next Friday.